COVID's happening. You want to open a gym and like things are closed.
They all were like, no.
You guys are
It's like
startup.
This is the worst time to do
what's your financial what's your plan?
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Where's your business plan? We're like,
yeah.
This is what it's gonna be good. They're like, probably.
And on the other side, gyms are closing down. They were like,
gyms left and right. You want to open a gym? No.
What's up, guys? Brandon Garner here, CEO of RVA Iron Gym. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bobby Bands.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with Jomin.
Not yet. We got a special guest today on our newest episode of the Iron Talk.
Whoa, the Iron Talk.
We got Big Jomin.
Come on,
in the house.
What's up? Hi. Hey, everybody. It is a pleasure and an honor to be on here. First time I saw Iron Talk, the first thing I did was DM Brandon. I said, bro, I have unlimited questions.
You got to do it.
But I'm excited to be here. Definitely, it's cool. I know you were just talking to one of the members and you were like, man, you guys had Mr. Olympia over here to start it all off right here, sitting right here.
How's it feel?
And now you have me.
Now you're in there, baby. Let's go. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Bro, we wanted to have you because you were doing this. Yeah. Like before we even started the podcast stuff, we were like, yo, I talked to Bobby about it. I was like, yo, Jomin's interviewing people. Like, seeing you do that made us want to do it, Oh, wow. And then we talked to me. We're like, yo, Jomin would be like a great kind of host for this show. Like, yo, he would be a good guy to bring in and have ask us questions, Mm-hmm. And I think it is a good fit because you're already doing it, you know. You ask great questions. They're polished. They're no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo.
That's what we look for. We started the gym. We got ideas every day. We talk to each other, but we're always looking for other people to kind of,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, because we could always give people ideas, but if it don't really fit them.
I'm always a curious person, man.
That's
like,
dope.
I got in the fitness industry with just a clean slate and knowing nothing. And I said the best thing I could do is ask people that are already doing this and have been doing this for a while. And it's kind of finding, because I think that drive behind what you do is all, individual, right? Sure. So, but yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys doing this. In my mind, as I was thinking about what you guys were doing, I was like, oh my gosh, what about a Iron Talk?
Yeah.
How it all started segment.
Yeah.
Dope.
Right. That was like something for me, was because I've been wanting to, obviously we had that conversation here actually on my page, but never with both of you guys.
How long ago was that?
That was probably
last summer.
Year. Yeah.
Last summer, right?
Yeah, last year.
We talked about that.
Yeah. It wasn't even open yet.
No.
So it's cool. And now there's obviously a lot of big things happening.
Yeah.
So I think it's just fair to talk about
a lot.
How it all started.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. Because I think we can get so caught up on, the gym's doing well, what people are seeing on social media or whatever. But I think it's also good to know that, hey, this is started by people from Richmond, Northern Virginia, dudes. Right? But like just people like all of us.
Just bros being bros.
Yeah, bros.
That's how,
That's what it is.
Our story's crazy. We talk about it all the time. We reference back to it a lot, in our day to day, because it's dope to look back on it. We get caught up in the stress of the day to day to being like, man, like, worried about today.
Yeah.
But like, we got to get back and say like, man, look where we came from. What I'm saying? How far we come, and the stress kind of goes away and being like, damn, we got to be proud of where
I think that's hard, especially for a lot of people that are very ambitious to measure success that way. Because you're always looking for that next goal. So you're like, man, here we are. I think I saw you even post this in your story yesterday. You're like, I'm trying to slow down. I'm supposed to take a vacation. But here I am doing all these other things. But I think that's just high functioning, ambitious people. But again, being able to. So my first question.
Okay, here we go.
Is how did it all start?
Like day one.
Day one, the idea, the thought, and making it into what it's the fruition of what it's today.
Yeah, really it started during COVID. I don't know if I could say that. During the pandemic, I was down bad, bro. I was bartending at the time when the pandemic started, and obviously all the bars closed and all the gyms closed. So I wasn't going to the gym, wasn't training. I was drinking a lot. I was buying liquor, bro. I rarely ever, like, I drink beer sometimes. I like drinking beer, but I rarely go to the liquor store. Like, I was buying bottles of liquor at the liquor store, and I just remember getting this idea, like, all the gyms were closed. things were not going the way I wanted. Like, what's my 5-year plan? Like, I can almost always tell you immediately, like, what's my 5-year plan? In that moment, I'm like, I have no idea, right? Because at the time I was doing Phantom Nutrition. We had pre-workout protein, you know, supplements, and no one was buying supplements because the gyms were closed, you know? So I was like, yo, I have this money. Do I restock and order everything right now? Or do I kind of pivot and figure out what I'm going to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of just made that decision, like, yo, I'm just going to open a gym, right? But it didn't start off like that. Like, it started off more like, let's just start buying some machines, right? That's because all these gyms were closing because of the pandemic, right?
Right.
So because all these gyms were closing, you had all these really rare, really good machines that just became available. I mean, you can always buy new stuff, but the older stuff is generally speaking better, better built, and a lot of stuff is just really good. And most of the time it costs more than some of the new stuff, you know? But at the time, it wasn't costing more because people were liquidating their gyms because they were being forced to close.
Wow.
So it was like, yo, I'm on Facebook Marketplace. So I wake up every morning, get on Facebook Marketplace, and just see what's for sale all up and down the coast. You know, New York, New Jersey, went to Connecticut a bunch, went to Boston, you know, like there was so many GOAT gyms up there in the Northeast area that were unfortunately closing. So I think I told Keon the first machine I bought was down in Portsmouth. I think it was a Nautilus leg extension that we don't even have in here anymore. But that was it. It was $300, and we got on the truck. We took it home. I had nowhere to put it at the time. AJ was helping out a lot, and
shout out AJ.
Shout out to AJ, bro. He had a house up in Nova, and he was living with his buddy, and they had an empty garage. Yeah. And so we just put the machines in the garage, right? And so I just started buying machines left and right, and I started talking about it, you know, and then it really gained traction, you know, and then one day Bobby was like, yo, you know,
I saw the bat signal, man. You put on the Instagram. That's the first time he put the logo. I got the old logo. It's actually your icon when you call me. It's still the old one. Yeah. So he put it on Instagram. I saw it. I hit him up because we used to talk, I mean, pretty regularly. Yeah. I mean,
real estate and stuff.
Real estate, and we would just chat. And I mean, I used to come down here for just to lift and go to VCU and chill and whatever. But I would have trouble going to gyms too because I would just be like, I come from Goals. I used to go to Goals all the time, and that's all was down here, corporate gyms. And I was like, man, like there's this. I saw the bat signal. He said RVA Iron Gym. I'm opening up in Richmond. I hit him up immediately, like, yo, great idea. Let me know what you need from me.
Yeah.
That bat signal was a very bro thing.
Immediately.
Batman.
It was literally, you posted it. I was like, no hesitation. Like, yo, great idea. Like, fucking, you should do that.
Which is crazy.
Because I'm not even from here.
Yeah. Let's just note this. He has no idea how much money I've got into this. He has no idea how
far he's even into
how far
it.
I'm along.
Right.
Immediately he's just, I'm coming to the table. Here's what I can put down. I want to be a part of it. I have nothing to show for it.
Just a logo.
Just a logo.
I think he put on a fake building.
Like he
invested
on a
fake building, remember?
Yeah.
It was like a fake it was like a fake Richmond thing. It was like, yo, like
it's that vision.
RVA Iron Gym's gonna be somewhere in Richmond. I was like, yo, perfect.
So like I'm touring properties, right? But really nothing's clicking, and I'm still buying machines, right? Bobby comes in, we work out the partnership and everything, and then we keep buying machines, but really we weren't satisfied with any of the locations we were finding, and we kept getting denied. We got denied like 6 times, you know.
Wow.
COVID's happening, you know, like you want to open a gym and like things are closed.
They all were like, no.
You guys are
it's like
startup.
This is the worst time to
like,
what's your financial what's your plan?
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Where's your business plan? We're like, this is what it's gonna be good. They're like, probably.
And on the other side, gyms are closing down. They were like,
gyms left and right. You want to open a gym? No.
They're like, have you done this before? No.
Wow.
You know, do you have major backers? No.
That's
you know, they're like, you know, they want to see hundreds of thousands of dollars liquid in our bank accounts, and we're like, well, we've got this, and they're like, it's not enough, and we're like, bro, we had already at the time, depending on what part of the timeline we're at, we had already about $80,000 worth of machines.
Wow.
So we had put everything in storage, right? When we started going and looking for all the properties, we kept acquiring more machines as they kept just saying no.
Our storage units started to just stack up.
So we had, I think at one point I had 6 storage containers, and I was paying probably $600 or $700 a month for all of those, and they were just filled to the brim. And you know, and so it was crazy, you know, and time kept passing by. We kept finding deals, and we kept buying machines, and just like yo, we're gonna find a spot, you know. But I'll tell you this: I never once said, what if we don't find a spot? Like, I just knew it was gonna happen. Yeah, you know, it was like it's weird. It's almost like blind faith, you know. I guess it's just real conviction in like what we're gonna do. But I mean, I never had that second guessing myself, you know. There was one point after we signed the lease here initially where I was driving back to my house after I painted this whole thing myself, like inside I rolled the paint, everything. And it was like, I had been here for 14 hours. And what I would do is I was like broke. Like by the time it was about to open, I had like no more money. It was like, yo, we got to open. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would go to Little Caesars right here and I would go get $5 pizza. And I would eat the pizza, one pizza all day long while I was working. So that was all I could afford, was $5 pizzas. And so I was rolling the paint and I was driving home. And there was one day I was driving home and I was like, yo, I fucking hope this works, bro. And I only had that thought once. And I remember thinking now further on, I'm like, man, I was kind of crazy that I never really thought, you know, like it's otherwise.
Bro,
that's how it was. Like, I'm telling you, I was like blinders on. I'm waking up every single day. It was like, you know, when I've competed in bodybuilding shows, you have that sense of drive. This was like a whole nother level. That's how I knew it was going to work, because we were pouring everything into it. You know, Bobby was sending money, putting more money in. I'm like, yo,
this guy's relentless. That's
we need another 10. And he's like, for what? I'm like, this machine, we can't pass it up. He's like, here it is.
Gotta
boom.
Get it.
You know what I mean?
I don't question him really at all. You know what I'm saying? We go back and forth, but we know we're just like, yo, like if it makes sense on gym equipment, especially, like, I'll just like, let's rock with it. Cause
that's awesome.
There's a lot of times where it goes down like that, where, you know, like you can't pass up on it.
I don't know if you remember this, Bobby, but before the gym opened, I was in a sign business. Right. So it was way back then. Yeah. And I remember I messaged you. I was like, hey, let me do the sign for you guys.
I do remember, I do remember that.
I didn't hear about this.
I think my quote was like way too much.
Really?
He was like, nah, we're going to go with someone else.
It's probably double.
But I was like, so I remember that. Right. But it's cool, obviously, seeing what it is today. And now us being able to like have this talk and meeting you in person, because I know you were in Northern Virginia. But talk about maybe that belief that you had, right? Just from you have nothing as far as to see physically, right? He was talking about blind faith, but I mean that is faith, right?
Faith, yeah.
But where did that stem from, as far as, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, I met Brandon during doing his expos, you know, during you know, his supplement game. He was doing that. We met. I was doing media at the time, so we went back and forth with that. He tried to hire me, I think, a couple times to do some media for him. It never worked out, but
Bobby, just do my camera settings, bro. Just please, like, tell me how.
I was like, yeah, like, all right, like, I'll help you with that. And so, you know, and we just always stayed in contact. Brandon always hit me up, like, we always hit each other up, like, yo, check this out. You know, check this real estate out, you know, ask each other questions about certain stuff. I love Richmond. Every time I come down here, I mean, I used to be like, man, I love Richmond because it's different from Northern Virginia. You know, for me, I'm not from Nova. Yeah. I'm from Connecticut. So when I went to school in Virginia Beach. I went back up to do work in Nova and I stayed. Yeah. But Nova is different. It's a different animal. It's a different beast. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But when I came to Richmond, I was like, oh, this reminds me more of home. And I had trouble just, again, finding gyms that I really wanted to go to. You know, like I was always looking for gyms to go. I used to compete and I just was looking for gyms. And when I got to talking to Brandon, it was his relentless attitude and mentality. And we just felt like we were on the same wavelengths with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, you know, we're in two different worlds, he was an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. And it was just like, I saw he was going to open RVA Iron Gym. And I was like, yo, I don't know. I wouldn't even ask him to be a partner. I just was like, yo, whatever you need from me, out of like the goodness of like, I want it to work. Wow. So that's what it really was. He's like, yo, I need a partner. I was like, oh shit. Like, I didn't expect that really, but I mean, I was down for it 100%. And it was like, okay, cool. And it was like, literally like we figured it out. And it was like the next day it was like, okay, cool. I'm going to get machines. Like, I was like, oh shit, like like this guy is like, because I've always had talks with people like, let's do this, let's do
Everybody's
that.
got ideas.
Come on, like, let's do a business together. Yeah. You know how long that usually takes, and it never amounts to really anything. Right. Okay, cool, I'm down, let's go. Next day, he's like, cool, I'm going to Boston. Okay, like, we really doing this, like, and I'm glad because like I'm in Nova, you know what I'm saying? I don't know machines that well. I can help with the finances, I can help with the media, the structure of that, and we could work together. We got similar mindset and design. So
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
our partnership is sick, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Like people always
It's
ask
great.
like how you guys do it, because like I feel like a lot of partnerships don't work.
Right.
I mean, you know, like we're not perfect by no means, but
Right.
we just rock. We trust in each other's judgment. Like I said, he's hit me up recently. It's happened from the beginning to now. Like, yo, picked up this machine, had to get it. Okay, bro, like that's cool. Like I'm trusting it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know, like
I
if
love
you
that.
think it's dope, and if he's like, yo, what you think of this? Like, let's rock. You know, we've all.
Bobby compliments me so well because I'm from the Marine Corps and I'm a straight up guy. Like I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate. Bobby's much more calculated, right? He thinks longer term. I mean, we both think long term, but I'm all in type guy. And Bobby slows me down sometimes in the good ways, right? Like I'm ready to do this. Let's go do this. And you know, and with emotions, with dealing with members and people, right? I'm a passionate person, right?
Yeah.
I come off very strong. Some people think I'm an asshole. I'm not. I just care a lot, you know, especially about this, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes Bobby pulls me back a little bit, you know, which is good. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, you always had you have these corporals, right? They're like your pit bulls. Like you want the pit bulls because they're on people, you know. Then you got the guys above them. They pull them back a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But it keeps people in line. You know what I'm saying? It keeps everything moving properly.
Right.
So it's a great partnership because we check each other. You know, sometimes like, come on, let's go, and pull them along. Like, yo, what you doing?
Yeah.
Let's go. You know. And then
It's like
sometimes
a
Bobby's like,
balance.
yo, come, let's slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
You
Think about it
know.
real quick, but yeah, I mean, it works out. I think you just got to have. Again, we always go back to our core values of always, like, when we're ever questioning something and it's like we're both struggling to come up with an answer,
Yeah.
we got to just look at like, all right, like, why do we start this?
Yeah.
What's it for?
Yeah.
Who's
You
it
know,
for?
who's it for?
Yeah.
Because it's not us.
Yeah.
Essentially, like,
That's huge.
could have started it because he's like, yo, I need this for me.
Right.
I know it's a good idea, but look what it turns into. It's for
Right.
the people. It's for
Yeah.
the city. So we go
That's
back to
huge.
that. The answer always comes out
For the city.
for the city,
Yeah.
and it ends
Yeah.
up being the right answer. Like whatever our decision is, it's like we go back to that. That's why you need to have values, because if you don't have that, what do you go back on? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You could just, what do you think is right? What do I think is right?
Yeah.
What is good for
I
the people?
love that.
When
Yeah.
the problem is too is so many people do things for money, and that when you can't fall back on money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's no, you know, everything goes out the window. The trust, integrity,
Right.
you know, the partnership in itself, right? So at the end of the day, something that started off selfishly for me to get me out of that hole, it wasn't the gym. It was building the gym and all the steps that it took me to get there. By the time the gym was open, I had gone through all this months of hard work. I was just a different person by the time it opened. I'd stopped drinking. You know, I stopped caring about certain things that I cared about at that time, you know? And I think that was a big part of that transformation. And something that started off like, yo, I'm just going to do this. The city was like, no, we need this.
Yeah.
So then it became so much bigger. We had the backer board, right? People were donating to open the gym.
Wow.
And it just kept growing, you know? So from that moment on, I mean, easily within the first couple of months of the gym, in the beginning, I'm like, machines. This is the most important fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
You learn so quickly that the people come first, right?
Yeah.
And to the day, I mean, bro, I could tell you some stories about some of these machine guys and these collectors and this, that, and they have a terrible culture, a terrible community. They've got amazing machines, but the gym is empty. Without the people, what is it? It's
Right.
just a warehouse full of fucking machines.
Right.
There's nothing in it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. So the culture community aspect of it is what we've honed on. That's why we do the events. That's why we bring Keon. That's why we want to do this. We want to give people voices to talk about their story, you know, and that's why we do RVA Fit Day.
Yeah.
When Joe came to me about RVA Fit Day, it was really the culminating event of Transform RVA. He's like, yo, we should like a fitness festival. And I was like, I ran with that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'm doing that, you know? And then it was like, we had seen other kind of expos in the area that just kind of fizzled out, and we were like, why? Well, it's because they didn't put the community first. All of RVA Fit Day is free. I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars on this when we have partnerships, right? We have sponsors and we got great vendors, you know, but we're still putting out a lot of bread for this. We don't make money on it, but it's not about making money. It's about bringing everybody together for
amazing.
a day to just go
That's
crazy. Like it's that's why it's called Richmond's biggest fitness celebration. You know, we celebrate fitness. Like,
and we've seen a lot of companies, like, if they put themselves first, or watch them start with the community and then start to just slowly.
You see it.
Oh, let's focus more on us and us, and it's just us. And now it's like you could just slowly. We talk about it all the time. We send each other messages like, yo, you see this? Like, damn, it's fading. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was is not what it is now. And that's why we had to make it not about us. It had to be about the city. And
I even mentioned it. I think we spoke about it earlier about how, like, yes, right now, like, Richmond is like kind of a blinking light, but then it'll be I think a lot of people will actually gravitate towards the community aspect of that, and people being able to go all over from different cities, different states, to just fly into the event. Like, you know, the Arnold Classic, like, that's kind of one of the things that
we're shooting for that,
seeing it. So going to what we see today, even with RVA Fit Day. But my question is, have you always envisioned the culture, the community, how it's turned out to before you guys had it? Right?
Probably
it's turned out better.
It's better. Probably not. I mean, I couldn't tell you before. I didn't know.
Wow.
I never owned a gym before, you know? And like, I mean, I was in the Marine Corps, so I had junior Marines that I was in charge of, right?
Yeah.
To an aspect, like, I'm in charge of the staff here and overseeing the gym's operations and everything like that. But to have almost 2,000 members less than 4 years in, like, we're responsible for those people, for their safety, their well-being when they're in our property, you know?
Right.
And so protecting that community, that culture, and building that is something that we've definitely learned along the way. And we've learned from our failures, and we've learned from other people's failures as well. We have other friends in gym communities, you know, where we say, they've done this, they tried this, it didn't work, why, right? And you have to be aware. You have to, you know, use them as reasons why not to do something. You know, we talk about in the Marine Corps, like, you have poor leaders, right? But at the end of the day, they still teach you how not to lead, right? So at the end of the day, you might have hated working with them because they weren't good leaders, but they taught you how not to lead, right? You have a shitty father, like, right? He's never around, whatever. You know, when you become a father, you're not going to do that, right? Like, you still have to kind of appreciate that and, like, learn from it, right? And it just, everything ties into the business and the relationships, you know. So it's not something that I personally could have told you from day one, like, yo, this is how it's going to be. But it's like, it's been our mission every day since a couple months after we opened, when we realized, yo, it's not about these machines, you know, and people get that twisted. Like, the machine gym community is what it is. And sometimes it's like, I just don't understand it. You know, it's almost like a contest of who has cooler machines. And I'm like, it's not about the machines, bro. Like, it is to an extent.
The coolest machines, we got the most expensive machines. We're like,
it doesn't matter.
Does it serve our community? Does it serve your community?
Does it serve your community? You know, like, yo, when you talk about language, like, yo, we service the Richmond, Virginia community. We're in hospitality, right?
Yeah.
Just like a bar, just like a restaurant, you know, we're here to serve you. What can we do for you to make this better?
Wow.
We talk about member value, right? Like, people say your membership's expensive. It's $75 a month. Well, yeah, but Keon Pearson, you just met him for free. to get to meet him at the Olympia is a plane ticket.
Yeah. Hotel.
A hotel. I mean, the ticket itself, and then waiting in line.
Yeah.
Like,
doing more events. Like, that's what, you know, what else could we do? You know, the gym is built, you know, we could add more machines all day long and continue to do that. But, you know, food trucks, events.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of stuff.
Summer barbecues,
food trucks.
We're doing it.
I'm here for that.
We're doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Bro, but people come and say, yo, why don't you do that? Lead it. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yo, how about you do that? You lead it. You know what I'm saying?
We're always looking for that. Like, yo, anybody out there, listen, you want to do something? Let us fucking
just
know,
come.
please.
Yeah.
Because we saw you. That's what I'm saying. We see you doing it, and it's like, yo, perfect. Now we got you
here.
Yo, let's clean on you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that.
We love that stuff.
I get this is more maybe a little sentimental.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe seeing now, I think you could probably speak maybe because you're a dad. Like, what does this now mean to you? Seeing what it's become. Especially with your little one, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
and for you, obviously,
Big Gio.
Yeah.
Not real little no more.
Yeah, he's growing
He's in
fast.
Muay Thai now, bro.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I mean, I love it because now he's like, I want to go down there. You know, he can make the trip, I think, a little bit easier for me. So it'll be good to bring him down here more often and see the gym. He knows Brandon. Who you talking to? Like, put him on FaceTime. You know, he knows the whole crew. So
first he was shy.
Yeah, a little shy.
But now he's like, well, let me see.
Put him on. And now he doesn't want to talk to me. He's like, let me talk to Brandon real quick. I'm like, yo, don't hijack the combo. We got to talk. But yeah, I mean, it's dope for me. I mean, because every time I go to the gym, he thinks I'm coming here 100%. Yeah. Even though I'm in Nova, he's like, all right, every night he thinks I go to Richmond. Yeah. To like your
super
gym.
dead.
He's like, you going to your gym? Awesome. And I was like, yeah, I wish I was, but
he'll realize more as he gets older too, like what this really means. And like, yo, my daddy built this. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
he loves exercise and that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's that legacy aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're trying to leave for the city and itself. I mean, just never mind our families as a whole, like, he doesn't have any kids yet, but like when he does, I mean, his family, his mom, like I think we're changing. We always talk about changing our dynamics of our family, we're we got to be the ones, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I've always felt like that. I'm sure he feels the same way. I don't want to speak for him, but like we've talked enough to be like, we got to change the dynamics of our family. Right. I could have stayed in Connecticut and done the same thing everybody else does, but I went to school in Virginia Beach. I didn't know anything about Virginia. Oh, wow. I just know I could play baseball, and they wanted me to play baseball, so I was out. I wasn't going to school in Virginia or in Connecticut. So, and that's what we're doing now, constantly with this and building it up. So
yeah, and Gio's gonna be here working out one day, and
that's
hopefully working. Whatever he wants to do. I mean,
first job in here, cleaning the toilets.
That's it. Whatever.
Hey,
got started at the bottom
somewhere.
Yeah,
right. So. And I've seen the attention to details, even when we were setting up. Obviously, you guys pinpointing little things in that. I think that's very transparent now in how the gyms ran. Because I've never been in a gym. I came from like big corporate gyms, right? Where like you walk in, you scan in, and then like all the weights are just waiting on the machines. It's just nobody's cleaning up. Nobody talks to you, right?
When you walk in, nobody cares.
Not bad people, right? No. It's just a different system. Mm-hmm. Maybe talk about like where you guys got your system from and why it's working so well.
I think it just comes down to the why, like what is your why? The community. Yeah. You got to greet the members when they come in. I mean, we know most people by first name. We know what's going on with their lives. Yeah. We know when they're what sports their kids are playing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the difference between going to like a locally owned restaurant versus like a big chain. Yeah. You get the food and you're like, man, you can tell that this was made here in house, and they tell you where they got it from, and there's a story behind the dish. You know what I'm saying? Like versus a corporate restaurant, you're like, this is frozen. We made it somewhere else. We brought it here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a place for both, right? Yeah. And they feed people just same way that gyms help people, whether it's corporate or locally. But like, it just comes down to caring about the community and the people you are serving, right? Like, it's a different experience when you come here. So the systems that we have in here, we've learned along the way. Like I ran the gym by myself for the first entire year. The desk used to be like right here, and it was just the front desk.
Save cost.
And that was it. And we bought that desk from what was it? It wasn't Macy's. It closed in Short Pump. Dillard's. It was a Dillard's. Yep. And we bought that clothing rack and we bought that front desk for like a couple $100, worth thousands of dollars. Yeah. But everything was going on sale, and I was like, "Yo, Bobby, I'm going here. We're gonna get this desk." He was like, "All right, cool, do it." You know? And that I ran the whole gym by myself for about the whole first year. So everything that we've done, I've done it first by myself. So I learned it as we went. This had to get done every single day, right? Yeah. This is what we need to do when we do our systems and our processes. Call them SOPs, standard operating procedures. Yeah. How do we sign a member up? How do we cancel a member? What do we have to clean every single day?
Learning as we go?
Yeah, bro.
I mean, literally every day it's like, yo, that didn't work. Next thing, you know what I'm saying? Like another solution. Yeah.
Bro, you talk about when you franchise a business, right? You get the playbook, right? You're buying the playbook, you're buying the name, you're buying the SOPs, right? So for us, we bootstrapped it. We did everything on our own from the beginning. And we have friends in the industry. Jason from the shop helped us a lot. Jason up at Chiseled helped us a lot. Yeah, and Maryland. Like those guys, like they were like, yo, try this, see how it works, do this, see how it works. And they've come to us now years later. Yo, what do you think about this? How do you do this? Like our door system, we were one of the first gyms that I know of where we're using the Gym Master system. That operating software is great,
Imagine you got to switch a whole gym already, you know, like
we did that.
Yeah.
Open another gym and we switched the system. That's like by far the two
the worst
things
Very
we
hard.
could do. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to do that. Like you
Right.
talk to any other like gym, they'll be like, damn, we got to switch our whole system. That means you got to move all the members, all their information to a whole nother system.
Yeah.
And you're trying to open the gym at the same time. So while he's trying to get all the equipment and stuff, I'm trying to figure out the gym master system.
Yeah.
And we're like the first. You know, we have the door locked. I mean, that was because of COVID, but like it worked out perfect. I mean, that's something we didn't like plan to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't think other gyms.
We wanted that 24-hour system, but we also wanted you couldn't see the gym in case, you know, they came and tried to close us down. Because in the beginning, when it first happened, gyms weren't allowed to operate, you know, or be open. And I built the gym with the idea that we're never going to close.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
Regardless.
You know what I'm saying?
Matter.
Like, we'll park in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was part of it. But it worked out great because now you have these systems where you can access the gym 24/7 and
it's amazing.
Then when you get so busy and you want to change systems because we're always trying to progress, like, Gym Master comes through and we're like, man, what a great system. I don't know if you got a recommendation from somebody, another gym, but I mean, we just found it, made some calls, talked to them. Another person, you know, like a very smaller company, easy to talk to, set us up, but I mean, it was a pain.
Now they're used by a lot of gyms now.
Used by a lot of gyms now, but
that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think from stemming from literally the worst time of your life, the struggles, and you talking about being able to appreciate that, and obviously you guys been able to partner together, seeing what it is today. I think my last question would be, you know, what's next for RVA Iron?
We want to progress. I mean, we want to continue to. We don't want to be stagnant. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to. I mean, we talk about not slowing down, but embracing where we're at. You know, enjoying where we're at. You know, we don't want to constantly be running and being on like but that's us in general. So it's hard to pull back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, my guy needs to get some sun, some vacation time. I'm not a vacation guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just never went anywhere. But I enjoy watching him. I live through him. You know, like, which is dope.
Tim Grover's book, Relentless. I buy it for all my staff. You got coolers, closers, and cleaners, right? And all three, you got to read the book. I'm not going to explain it, but the highest operating people are cleaners, what he calls cleaners. And they know that winning has to happen every single day. And if you are not actively winning, then you are not a winner. So you have a lot of people that won high school championship football game 20 years ago, and that's the last time they won, you know? You have guys that won 5 years ago when they got, you know what I'm saying? Like, being in a business, especially as an entrepreneur, I remember we had our first powerlifting meet in here, right? And the gym was filled. It was crazy because powerlifting events at the time, they hadn't done one since like they did one at VCU and whatever. It didn't work out. So it had been a couple years since anyone had a meet. And we had one and we filled the gym. And I remember standing on like the calf raise in there, and I took a picture of it and I spanned the whole gym. And my buddy Jason at the shop texted me. He's like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, I don't know, I got to do this or whatever. He's like, you're not even celebrating. And I was like, no. He's like, no, I knew you could do it because you have the same mindset that I do. You take it and you just keep going. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that there's not a time to celebrate your victories, right? But like a lot of people celebrate. Tim Grover also says celebrate short, right? And not long. Celebrate hard but not long, right? People, you take periods of time where you celebrate and you cherish those wins, but they do it too long and they start slowing down, they get lazy, they forget why they started, you know. So honestly, what's next for RVA Iron, to be determined. You know, we want to do another gym. I'm not satisfied with 2 yet. I think we can do 3. I think the third one is going to have to be really polished for the area we're looking at. We're probably we may be bringing on some partners. That's again up in the air. But looking at number 3, we see a gap in the market, and we're going to target that. You know what I'm saying? It's got to maintain what got us here, but we're going to elevate it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? We've done a warehouse gym. Chester's a little more polished, right? What's the third one going to look like?
Not saying that these aren't polished by no means. They're just a different.
The different vibes.
Animals,
you come here, it's a little different than Chester.
We go by our spaces and like where we're at. Like that's just and like we got the space. Thank God. Like shout out to Danny. Like we got
it.
You know, like but like this is where we ended up. He's like, hey, can we? You know, we're like, hey, can we build it? He's like, no. Good luck with this. This is your space.
Yeah.
figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting nothing else from me. I'll help you out along the way, and which he did, you know, but like, this is it. And we polished it ourselves over time, but we're trying to try to look for another space and make it a little bit more polished for the area.
And each gym has its own personality. Each gym has its own machines. Each gym has its own vibe, you know? And I like it that way. Yeah. And you have to build the gyms for the area you're in. When you copy and paste gyms, it doesn't feel the same. You know what I'm saying? It's huge. That's corporate gyms, you know?
We don't want to make, you know, we don't want to like, you know, we make money and we get, you know, we get partners or whatever, and now we could just get all brand new stuff, which is cool. It's not bad. Like, people do it, but like, we still want to.
You lose that.
You lose that feeling of that personality, you know, like it's, we still want to handpick stuff.
You think about, stuff, you know, you think about like homes in Richmond, right? You go into a home in the Fan, right? Or you go to a home in like Monument, right? And you've got that architecture, you've got the trim, you know, like you feel the history in that building, right? Then you go to a brand new home, right? It doesn't feel the same. Like, Richmond, we have to hold on to that feeling, you know what I'm saying? It's very important. Huge. It's very important, I think. So
that's why I love it here, to be honest. Yeah. We still have that here. I want to keep it like that.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Well, hey, that's all I have.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's all I have. That was
Jomin.
Hey, but you guys answered a lot of questions along the way too. So I love that. So
we appreciate you.
But I appreciate you guys having me on here. I think this has been such an honor for sure.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Really appreciate Jomin coming on here today, talking a little bit about the history and kind of our why. So looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Hey, Jomin. Appreciate you.
Big Jomin.
Yeah. Let's do another
Iron
one.
Talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Peace.